My wife sneered, "I'm not attracted to you anymore," while hiding a 6-month affair with her rich boss, so I exposed their affair to his wife and filed divorce. I, 34, male, never thought my marriage would implode like this. My wife, Melissa, 32, female, and I had been together for almost 8 years. We met right after college when we both worked at the same marketing agency. I was in information technology. She was an aspiring paralegal taking night classes. I thought we were solid. Not perfect, but whose marriage is, right? For context, I am a pretty average guy. I work as a senior web developer at a tech company making around $110,000 a year. I am not driving a Lambo or anything, but we were comfortable. We bought a small 3-bedroom house in a decent neighborhood about 3 years ago. I play basketball on weekends with my buddies, collect vintage video games, and try to hit the gym 3 times a week to keep the dad bod at bay. No kids yet, but you know how it goes after 30. Nothing extraordinary about me. Just a normal dude trying to live a good life with the woman I thought was my forever person. Melissa started as a paralegal but climbed her way up to senior paralegal at this prestigious law firm downtown. She was always ambitious, which I supported completely. The past year, she had been working directly under one of the partners, Richard. Everyone calls him Rich, ironically enough, both his name and his wallet. Her workload seemed to be increasing every month, with more late nights at the office and work emergencies on weekends. Our marriage was not perfect, but I thought we were happy enough. We would take weekend trips to the coast a few times a year, had a solid group of friends we would hang out with regularly, and generally enjoyed each other's company. At least that is what I thought. Looking back, I can see the warning signs that started about 1 year ago. Her increasing criticism of our house, my wardrobe, even the way I laugh too loudly at movies. But you know how it is. You do not want to see the cracks forming in your foundation, so you just keep painting over them and pretending everything is fine. That night in particular, I was at home playing some Call of Duty with my online buddies. It was getting late, almost midnight, and Melissa still was not home. I texted her around 8 p.m. asking when she would be back, and she had responded with a vague, "Working late, do not wait up." This was becoming the new normal, but midnight was extreme even for her. My buddy Jake had dropped a few hints during our gaming session. "Dude, is not this like the 3rd late night this week?" he asked through the headset. "Big case," I had replied automatically, the excuse I had been telling myself. "Lots of preparation for trial." "Uh-huh," Jake had responded, his doubt clear even through the crappy audio. "Just saying. My cousin's wife had a lot of late nights too. Turned out she was working late all right with her gym instructor." I had laughed it off, but the comment stuck with me as the hours ticked by. When I finally heard the front door open, something felt off immediately. Instead of her usual quiet entrance, the door practically flew open, banging against the wall. Her footsteps were loud and unsteady as she made her way into the house. "Hey," I called out, taking off my gaming headset. "Everything okay?" When she appeared in the doorway of our living room, I barely recognized her. Her usually perfect appearance was a mess. Her blouse was wrinkled and buttoned wrong. Her hair was disheveled and her eyes were bloodshot and unfocused. She was not walking straight, and I realized she was high as a kite on something. Definitely pills or something. Melissa always said she hated the smell of weed. Whatever she was on, she was messed up. "Where have you been?" I asked, standing up. "I have been worried sick." She laughed. Not her normal laugh, but something harsh and bitter. "Worried about what, that your dinner got cold? Poor baby." I was taken aback by her tone. This was not like her at all. "What is going on with you? Are you okay?" Instead of answering, she stumbled past me into the kitchen, yanking open cabinets and slamming them shut before finding a glass. She filled it with water but did not drink it, just stared at it like she could not remember what it was for. "Melissa, talk to me," I said, following her. "Did something happen at work?" "Work?" she repeated with another strange laugh. "Yeah, something happened at work. I realized how fucking boring my life is." Melissa stumbled into the living room and collapsed onto our couch, spilling water onto the cushions. She did not even notice or seem to care. I stood there completely confused and increasingly concerned about what was happening. "What are you talking about?" I asked. "Are you on something right now?" "God, you sound like my dad," she sneered. "Always so concerned, so responsible. Do you have any idea how suffocating that is?" I sat down across from her, trying to stay calm despite feeling like the ground was shifting under me. "Melissa, you are clearly not in a good state right now. Maybe we should talk when you are." "When I am what? Sober, rational, pretending everything is fine?" She cut me off. "Maybe I am finally being honest for once." "Honest about what?" I asked, though part of me did not want to hear the answer. She looked at me, her eyes focusing for just a moment, and said the words that would change everything. "I do not think I'm attracted to you anymore." It felt like someone had punched me in the gut. 8 years together, and she drops this bomb casually while clearly high on something. "Where is this coming from?" I managed to ask, my voice sounding strange even to myself. Does it matter? She snapped. It is not like it is a sudden thing. I have been feeling this way for months, maybe longer. I was struggling to process what was happening. If you have been feeling this way, why have not you said anything? We could have talked about it, worked on it together. Because I did not want to hurt your feelings, she said with an eye roll as if I was being ridiculous. And honestly, I was not sure at first. I thought maybe it was just a phase or something, but now I am sure. Is there someone else? I asked directly, the question I had been fearing for months finally coming out. She did not answer right away, which was an answer in itself. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. Just tell me, is there someone else? She picked at her manicure, avoiding my eyes. It is not that simple. Actually, it is that simple, I said, my voice growing firmer. Either you are cheating on me or you are not. Which is it? She looked up, irritation flashing across her face. Why does everything have to be so black and white with you? This is exactly the problem. You never understand nuance or complexity. There is nothing nuanced about breaking our wedding vows, Melissa, I replied, fighting to keep my voice steady. Just be honest with me for once. She stood up suddenly, swaying slightly. Fine, you want honesty? Yes, there is someone else, and he makes me feel alive in ways you never have. Are you happy now? The confirmation hit me like a physical blow, even though I had already known in my gut. How long? Does it matter? It matters to me. You know what Rich got his wife for their anniversary last month? Melissa said, completely ignoring my question. A trip to the Maldives, 2 weeks in a private overwater bungalow. What did you get me for our anniversary? A fitness watch. I felt a flush of anger and embarrassment. You said you wanted that watch. You had been talking about tracking your workouts for months. That is not the point, she exclaimed, throwing her hands up. The point is, you got me something practical, something boring, just like this house, just like our life, just like you. Each word felt like a knife. I had spent years working my ass off to give us a good life. We were not living in a mansion, but we had a nice home in a good neighborhood, reliable cars, vacations twice a year. What the hell was boring about that? You know, she continued, seeming to gain momentum as she spoke. At the office Christmas party, Sarah from accounting asked me what you do, and I could not make it sound interesting. He is a web developer, I said, and she just went, oh, and changed the subject. Do you know how that feels? To be unable to make your own husband sound like someone worth talking about. I could not believe what I was hearing. I'm sorry, my career as a software developer is not flashy enough for your office parties, Melissa. Would it help if I took up race car driving or international espionage? See, you are making jokes. You always do that instead of taking things seriously, she spat. This is our life we are talking about, and you cannot even have a real conversation. I'm trying to have a real conversation, I shot back, my patience finally breaking. You are the one who came home high off your ass and started insulting me and our entire life together. At least I am being honest, she yelled. I am tired of pretending. I am tired of faking it when we have sex. I am tired of your stupid basketball games and your gamer friends and your comic book collection and all the other childish shit you are into. I am tired of this mediocre life while everyone around me is actually living. I felt like I had been slapped, faking it when we have sex. For how long? She shrugged, a cruel smirk on her face. Long enough. Does it matter? Yes, it fucking matters. I stood up, unable to sit still anymore. Everything about this matters. You are basically telling me our entire relationship has been a lie. Not all of it, she said, her voice suddenly softer, but somehow more devastating. You are a nice guy. You are stable, reliable, like a dependable appliance. But sometimes I want more than reliable, you know. Sometimes I want excitement, passion, someone who surprises me, someone who challenges me, someone who does not wear graphic t-shirts at 34 years old. I could not speak. My entire reality was crumbling. All those late nights at the office, all those weekend work emergencies, the new clothes, the new hairstyle, the sudden interest in fitness, the constant texts she would hide from me. It was all making terrible sense. It is Rich, is not it? I asked, the name leaving a bitter taste in my mouth. You were sleeping with your boss. She did not deny it. She just looked at me with a mixture of defiance and something that might have been guilt. It is not just about the sex. He sees me. He respects my intelligence. He challenges me. And buys you nicer gifts than I do, I added coldly. That is not fair, she said with a frown. No. What is not fair is cheating on your husband and then coming home and telling him he is boring and mediocre and not worth staying faithful to, I replied, my voice trembling with anger and hurt. How long has it been going on? She looked away. A few months. How many is a few? I do not know. 4 or 5. It was not planned, it just happened. 4 or 5 months, almost half a year of lies, of coming home late from work when she had been with him, of kissing me with the same lips that had been on another man, of telling me she was too tired for sex when really she was just saving her energy for her rich, powerful boss. "Does he know you are married?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. "Of course he does," she replied, looking irritated that I would even ask. "He is married, too. It is complicated." "No, it is actually very simple," I said, a strange calm coming over me. "You cheated, you lied, you betrayed everything we built together." "You make it sound so black and white," she sighed dramatically. "Life is not like that. People make mistakes, they grow apart, they find connections with others. It happens all the time." "Not to me," I said quietly. "I committed to you. I chose you every single day for 8 years. "Oh, please," she scoffed. "Like you have never looked at another woman, never fantasized about someone else." "Looking and fantasizing are not the same as actually sleeping with someone else," I pointed out. "And it is definitely not the same as carrying on a months-long affair with your boss and lying to my face every day." She threw her hands up in exasperation. "This is exactly why I did not want to tell you. You are so rigid, so judgmental. Rich understands that life is complicated. He does not make me feel guilty for being human." "Is that what you tell yourself to justify cheating? That you are just being human?" I asked. "And what about his wife? Does she know her husband is being human with his employee?" A flash of something, worry perhaps, crossed Melissa's face before she composed herself. "That is between Rich and Stephanie. It has nothing to do with us." "Right?" I said, nodding slowly. "Just like your affair has nothing to do with our marriage. Is that how compartmentalization works for you two?" I do not know how long we sat there in toxic silence after that. Eventually, she passed out on the couch, still fully dressed, mouth hanging open. I looked at the woman on our couch, designer clothes, highlighted hair, manicured nails that probably cost what I spent on groceries each week, and realized I did not know who the hell she was anymore. This was not the Melissa the first had fallen for in our early 20s. That Melissa had been kind, genuine, ambitious, but not materialistic or status-obsessed. That Melissa had loved our weekend hikes and playing Mario Kart tournaments with our friends. That Melissa had once told me she would rather have a man with character than a man with a black card. This woman was a stranger wearing my wife's face. My best friend Kevin had actually pulled me aside at our July 4th barbecue last year when he noticed how Melissa acted constantly on her phone, making snide comments about our modest backyard, barely acknowledging my friends' wives unless they wore designer labels. "Dude, she is changing," he had said quietly while we were grilling, and not in a good way. I had defended her, said she was just stressed with work and adapting to a more upscale professional environment. What a fool I had been. I thought about the moment I knew I wanted to marry her. We were on a camping trip with friends, and it started pouring rain the middle of the night. Our cheap tent leaked, soaking our sleeping bags. Instead of complaining, Melissa had laughed, suggested we make a run for the car, and we ended up spending the night in my cramped Honda Civic, playing 20 questions and eating stale Doritos until sunrise. "This is still the best trip ever," she had said, her hair dripping wet, no makeup, shivering slightly in my oversized sweatshirt, and I had thought, this is the girl I want with me through all of life's storms. What had happened to that girl? When had she been replaced by this materialistic, status-hungry woman who looked at our comfortable life with contempt? Had she always been this person deep down, and I had just been too blinded by love to see it? Or had the allure of wealth and status through her job gradually poisoned her values? I got up quietly and went to our bedroom. I pulled out my large gym duffel bag and packed enough clothes for a week or so. I took my gaming laptop, my collection of rare vintage Nintendo games that I knew she would probably throw out in anger, my grandfather's watch, and the emergency cash I kept in my desk drawer, about $1,200. I had learned long ago to keep a separate emergency fund that Melissa did not know about. Not because I had anticipated this exact scenario, but because my dad had always taught me that every man needs walk-away money just in case. I grabbed my important documents, birth certificate, passport, social security card, and the external hard drive where I kept backups of all my important files and photos. I hesitated at our wedding photo on the nightstand, then left it exactly where it was. That life was over now. Before I left, I took one last look at her sprawled on our couch. Even in sleep, she looked dissatisfied, a permanent crease between her brows. When had she become so bitter, so entitled, so cruel? Or had she always been this person and I had just been too in love to see it? I did not leave a note. I did not see the point. I just walked out of the house I had worked so hard to buy, gently closed the door behind me, got in my car and drove away at 2:30 to 7 a.m. with no real destination in mind. I crashed at Kevin's place that night. He did not ask many questions when I showed up at his door at nearly 3 a.m. Just handed me a Mountain Dew. He knows I do not drink, and said, "Her loss, man." Kevin's bachelor pad was not much. A two-bedroom apartment with mismatched furniture and a fridge full of protein shakes and energy drinks, but it felt more like home than my own house had in months. "You can stay as long as you need, bro," he said, setting up the pull-out couch with sheets and a pillow. "Mi casa su casa." I called in sick to work the next day, something I rarely do. I am the guy with 3 weeks of unused vacation time because I hate letting my team down. My phone was blowing up with texts and calls from Melissa, ranging from confused to angry to tearful. "Where the hell are you 9:26 a.m.? Are you seriously ghosting me because I was honest with you?" Mature. 11:42 a.m. "Please come home. I was out of it. I did not mean it. 3:19 p.m. "This is ridiculous. We are adults. We need to talk about this." 5:45 p.m. "Fine. Be a child. See if I care. This is exactly why I have been unhappy." 8:03. "Please, I am sorry. I love you. I made a mistake. People make mistakes." 11:37 p.m. But she did mean it. People often reveal their actual feelings when they are high or otherwise uninhibited. They just lose the filter that normally prevents them from saying it out loud. I finally texted back once, "I need space. Do not contact me for a while." Then I muted her notifications. I took a week off work, told my boss I had a family emergency, spent most of that time just trying to get my head straight. My buddy Jason came over a few times, brought food since he knew I would not be cooking. My sister Olivia called daily to check on me. She never liked Melissa. Always said she had mean girl energy, but was decent enough not to say, "I told you so." "What is your plan?" Olivia asked on day 4 of my self-imposed exile. "I do not have one yet," I admitted. "I am still processing." You can stay with me and Rob if you need to," she offered. "The guest room is yours as long as you need it." I appreciated the offer, but knew I could not hide out forever. Eventually, I would have to face reality and make some hard decisions. The worst part was the flashbacks. All the little clues I had missed. Melissa constantly comparing our life to her co-workers. The subtle digs about my career, my clothes, our house, how she would turn away when I reached for her in bed, how she had changed her phone password a few months ago, the girls' nights that seemed to happen more frequently, the credit card bills I had been too trusting to check. I pulled up our joint credit card statement online and started going through the recent charges. There it was, evidence I had been too blind to see. Charges at upscale restaurants downtown, on nights she had claimed to be working late. A hotel charge from a weekend she had said she was at a paralegal conference in the city. Expensive boutique purchases that she had hidden or claimed were on sale. She had even charged lingerie from some high-end shop I had never heard of. Certainly nothing she had ever worn for me. On day 6, her younger sister Amy called me. We had always gotten along well, and she seemed genuinely upset. "Look, Mel is a complete wreck," she said. "She says she cannot reach you." "I have nothing to say to her right now," I replied. Amy sighed. "I get it. What she said was awful, but she was not in her right mind." "And it was honest," I finished. "Let us not pretend this came out of nowhere, Amy. You and I both know she has been pulling away for months." There was a telling silence on the other end. "Is she cheating on me with Rich?" I asked directly. Another long pause. "I do not like being put in the middle," she finally said, which told me everything. "You are not in the middle. You already know the truth, and so do I said. "I just needed confirmation." "She talks about him a lot," Amy admitted reluctantly. "Too much, and there have been gifts, expensive ones she asked me not to mention to you." "Like what?" I pressed, needing to know the full extent of the betrayal. "A designer handbag, a bracelet. He took her to see Hamilton when it came through town." Amy paused, then added quietly, "And he gave her a key to his condo downtown." Each word was like another knife in my chest. Not only had she been cheating on me, but she had been accepting gifts that were worth thousands of dollars. Gifts she had hidden from me but apparently had no problem flaunting to her sister. "Thanks for being honest, Amy," I said, my voice tight. "I appreciate it." "For what it is worth," she added before I could hang up. I told her she was making a huge mistake. He has got a reputation. This is not the first time he has done this with someone who works for him. That was enough for me. I thanked Amy for her honesty and hung up. Then I called the best divorce attorney in town and made an appointment. After consulting with the lawyer, a sharp, no-nonsense woman named Diana, who had been through her own nasty divorce, I had a clear plan. First step was gathering evidence, which meant hiring a private investigator. Diana recommended someone she had worked with before, an ex-cop named Marcus. He was not cheap. $3,000 retainer, but I withdrew it from my personal savings account that Melissa did not know about. "If she is having an affair, we will document it thoroughly," Marcus assured me, "and if she is not, you will know that too." While Marcus did his thing, I began separating my finances. I withdrew half the money from our joint accounts and opened new ones at a different bank. I made sure my direct deposit from work went to the new account. I started documenting all our assets and making copies of financial records. Diana had warned me that things could get ugly fast, especially if Melissa decided to empty our accounts out of spite. I continued ignoring most of Melissa's messages, but after 2 weeks I finally responded to one. "I will come by Saturday to get more of my things. I would prefer if you were not there." She replied immediately, "This is ridiculous. We need to talk about this face to face. You cannot just throw away 8 years over one bad night." 3 p.m. Saturday, I texted back, "Your choice if you want another confrontation." As expected, when I showed up at our house that Saturday, Melissa made sure to be there. She had clearly put effort into her appearance. Hair styled perfectly, makeup flawless, wearing the blue dress I had always said brought out her eyes, as if looking good would make me forget everything she had said. "We need to talk," she said, trying to block the doorway. "Move, Melissa. I am just here for my things." "You are being completely ridiculous," she exclaimed. "I said some stupid things when I was high. People say things they do not mean all the time. You are throwing away 8 years over one bad night." I looked at her directly. "Was it just one bad night, or was it the night you finally told me how you really feel?" Her eyes flickered away for a split second. Just enough confirmation. "How is Rich?" I asked casually, pushing past her into the house. She froze. "What? Rich, your boss? The one taking his wife to the Maldives? The one buying you expensive gifts? The one you have been sleeping with for the past 5 months?" Her face went from flush to pale in an instant. "That is, I am not." "Save it," I said, heading upstairs to grab more clothes in my video game collection. "I do not even care anymore." That was a lie. I cared, but not in the way she thought. While I was packing my things, Melissa followed me around the house, alternating between defensive anger. "You are blowing this completely out of proportion." Tearful apologies. "It was a mistake. I was not thinking clearly," and attempts to put the blame on me. "If you had been more attentive, this never would have happened." "You have not even asked how I am feeling," she said at one point, her voice wavering. "Do not you care that I am hurting too?" I stopped what I was doing and stared at her in disbelief. "Are you seriously trying to make yourself the victim here? You cheated on me. You told me I was not good enough. And now you want what, sympathy?" "I am just saying we are both in pain," she replied, her eyes welling with tears that I was no longer sure were genuine. "We both deserve to be heard." "I heard you loud and clear the other night," I said, returning to my packing. "You think I am boring, mediocre, not worth staying faithful to? What else is there to hear?" "That is not fair," she protested. "I was in a bad place that night. I did not mean those things the way they sounded." "Then how did you mean them? Please enlighten me." I zipped up my duffel bag and faced her. She opened her mouth, then closed it again, clearly struggling to find an acceptable explanation. "It is complicated." "No, it is really not," I said, walking past her. "You have made it very simple, actually." I grabbed a few more items from my office, my gaming console, some books, the small safe where I kept my backup hard drives, and headed for the door. "So that is it?" she demanded, tears streaming down her face. "You are not even going to try to work this out?" I turned to look at her one last time. "You told me you were not attracted to me anymore, that I was boring, mediocre, that you have been faking it during sex, that you are embarrassed by me, and you have been cheating on me with your boss for almost half a year. What exactly do you think there is to work out?" "People make mistakes," she cried. I was confused. "Rich means nothing to me." "Goodbye, Melissa," I said, walking out the door. "My lawyer will be in touch." Her face changed instantly from pleading to cold fury. "Lawyer? Are you fucking serious? Fine. You want to play it that way? You have no idea who you are messing with. Rich knows every major attorney in this city." I just smiled, got in my car, and drove away. She had no idea what was coming. 2 weeks later, Marcus, the private investigator, delivered exactly what I needed. Dozens of photos and several video clips of Melissa and Rich together, entering hotels during lunch breaks, kissing in his Mercedes in the law firm's private parking garage, having dinner at expensive restaurants where he was clearly paying. According to the timestamps, the affair had been going on for at least 6 months, longer than the 4 or 5 months Melissa had admitted to. There was even a video of them in Rich's car in the parking garage having what appeared to be an intimate conversation. With the windows rolled up, there was no audio, but Marcus had hired a professional lip reader who provided a transcript. Rich was clearly saying, "I cannot leave Stephanie yet, not until the kids are a little older. You understand, right? But I promise we will be together eventually." And Melissa had nodded, accepting his empty promises like so many mistresses before her. More valuable was the other information Marcus uncovered. Rich was 46, had been a partner at the firm for 12 years, and had been married to his wife, Stephanie, for 15 years. They had 2 kids, 13 and 10. Stephanie was a respected pediatric surgeon who, according to Marcus, had no idea her husband was cheating. Even more interesting, Marcus discovered through some industry contacts that Rich had a history of affairs with female employees, at least 3 others that he could confirm. In one case, the firm had quietly settled a sexual harassment claim when things went south. It is a pattern with him, Marcus explained as we reviewed the evidence in his small, cluttered office. He finds a promising young woman at the firm, dangles career advancement and luxury in front of her, has his fun, and then moves on when he gets bored or when it gets too complicated. The firm has covered for him before because he brings in big clients, but they might not be so forgiving with solid evidence, especially in today's climate. I nodded, a plan forming in my mind. And his wife, what kind of person is she? By all accounts, she is well respected in the medical community. Volunteers with Doctors Without Borders every year, active in her kids' school, probably has no idea her husband is a serial cheater.
She deserves to know, I said firmly. Marcus nodded.
That is usually my advice. It is not about revenge. It is about letting someone make informed decisions about their life. I paid Marcus the remainder of his fee and took the evidence home. For 2 days, I thought carefully about my next steps. I did not want to act purely out of hurt or anger, but I also could not let Rich and Melissa continue their affair without consequences. They had both made deliberate choices to betray the people who trusted them most, and Stephanie, like me, deserved to know the truth. I sent Melissa a text. We need to talk. Dinner tomorrow at Salvatore, 7 p.m. She agreed immediately, probably thinking this was a step toward reconciliation. Salvatore was our place where we had had our first date, where I had proposed. Significant. I arrived early and chose a table with a clear view of the entrance. I dressed well, the designer suit Melissa had insisted I buy for networking events that I rarely wore. When she walked in, her face lit up with hope when she spotted me. You look nice, she said, sliding into the seat across from me. So do you, I replied pleasantly. How have you been? We ordered, made awkward small talk. I let her ramble about how much she missed me, how the house felt empty without me, how she had been doing a lot of thinking and soul-searching. I have too, I said, giving her a small smile. In fact, I have made some important decisions. Her face brightened. That is good, I have too. I think we can work through this if we both commit to counseling. And I pulled out a manila envelope and placed it on the table. Open it. She looked confused, but did as I asked. Her face crumpled as she flipped through the photos of her and Rich together. Entering the Hilton downtown, kissing in his car, his hand up her skirt at a dark table in an upscale restaurant. How did you, she stammered, looking around frantically as if checking who might see the photos. That is not important, I said calmly. What is important is what happens next. Are you blackmailing me? She whispered, her voice thick with fear. I laughed. No, Melissa, I do not want anything from you. The divorce papers have already been filed. My lawyer has copies of everything. Then why show me these? She asked, her hands trembling. Because I am not the only one who received these today, I replied, taking a sip of my water. Stephanie got a set too. So did the managing partners at your firm. The blood drained from her face. You did not? I did. See, Rich has a history with paralegals and associates. The firm has overlooked it before, but with photographic evidence and the potential public relations disaster, not this time. As if on cue, her phone started buzzing frantically. She fumbled for it, saw Rich's name on the screen, and looked at me with pure panic. I also included the transcript where he promises to leave his wife for you eventually once the kids are older, of course, I added. Stephanie seemed particularly interested in that part. You have destroyed my career, she whispered. No, you did that, I corrected her. When you decided our mediocre life was not enough. When you called me boring and reliable like those were bad things. When you started sleeping with your married boss for designer bags and career advancement. Her phone kept buzzing. Rich, then her boss, then Rich again. By the way, I added, I ran into your friend Taylor last week. Interesting conversation. Apparently, you have been bragging to your girlfriends about your upgrade for months, telling them how suffocating life with me had become, how Rich was going to leave his wife for you once the timing was right. She started to cry, mascara running down her cheeks. Please, you have to help me fix this. Rich will lose everything. I will lose my job. His wife does not deserve this. You are right. Stephanie does not deserve this, I agreed, which is exactly why she deserved to know. As for your job and Rich's marriage, not my problem. Please, she begged, grabbing my arm. I made a terrible mistake. I was stupid and shallow. I can fix this. We can fix this. I will do anything. There is no we anymore, Melissa, I said, removing her hand from my arm. You wanted excitement in your life. Congratulations, things are about to get really exciting for you. Her phone buzzed again with a text. She glanced at it, and her face crumbled even more. Rich, she whispered. He says he told Stephanie and the partners that I pursued him, that I threatened to claim harassment if he did not comply, that I have been obsessed with him and would not take no for an answer. I could not help but laugh.
Wow, real stand-up guy you picked there. Throws you under the bus at the first sign of trouble.
He is lying, she cried. It was not like that at all. Again, not my problem, I said, standing up. I dropped cash on the table for my untouched meal. I am done here. Do not leave, she pleaded, looking utterly broken. Please, I have nothing left. You have exactly what you chose, I replied. Goodbye, Melissa. 3 months later, I was settled in a new apartment downtown, much closer to my office. I had received a promotion at work. Turned out my boss had been wanting to move me up for a while, but Melissa had always discouraged me from taking on more responsibility and stress. Melissa had been let go from the firm. They had cited restructuring, but everyone knew the real reason. Rich kept his job, money, and connections talk, but Stephanie filed for divorce, and with the evidence I had provided, managed to get a very favorable settlement. As for Melissa, she eventually found work as a receptionist at a small law office across town, making barely above minimum wage. She had to sell our house. I agreed to the sale and the divorce settlement on the condition that we split the proceeds equally. She still texts me sometimes, usually late at night, telling me she misses our life, that she made the biggest mistake of her life, that she would do anything for another chance. Sometimes she texts that she hates me for ruining her life, that I am cruel and vindictive. I never respond. Some things cannot be fixed with apologies, and some people are not worth a second chance. I am not the same naive, trusting guy I was before, and honestly, I am better for it. Turns out I was more than enough all along. She just was not worth my time. Holy crap, this blew up overnight. Thanks for all the awards and support. For those saying I went nuclear maybe, but I do not regret it. Rich's wife deserved to know.